Just a quick little preview video before we talk about division, about just some division basics. So we're going to just talk about like notation, like what is division, what are the words, like what are the parts, and we'll talk about how it's related to multiplying, we'll talk about how it's written in different ways, and we're going to talk about kind of just the concept of it a little bit. So division is like a question like this, 24 divided by 6 gives us 4. It's about taking a number that's sort of like a total. We call this the dividend. So we're taking a dividend and we are sort of splitting that dividend into groups. And we know the size of the groups. We know what we want in each group. And so we're asking the question of how many groups can we make? So 24 divided by 6 equals 4. And it equals that because if we took a quantity of 24, whatever that would look like, and we split it into groups of 6. So we're going to chop this into groups of 6. So there's groups of 6. Each of those has 6 in it. We are very quickly going to discover that there are indeed 4 groups that we can take. So that's kind of how this works with division. We take a total, we know how much of a group we want, and so we end up getting, we need 4 of those, and each of these groups need to be groups of 6. That's my cat just meowing. What do you need, girl? What do you need? You just meowing. Okay, she's just meowing. Anyway, that's the bits for division is the dividend, and then the part that we're breaking our number up into, the size of the groups, is called the divisor, and then the amount of groups we end up with we call the quotient. Okay, so that's the quotient. It just needs a moment. All right, so the other idea here is that division is always the opposite of multiplication. So we're going to realize that this is really just the opposite of 4 times 6 equals 24. And we'll look at how that is. Ready? Okay. Okay. Want the door open? Okay, so if we were to write the opposite multiplication version of this, we would write that if we have 4 groups, and each group has a size of 6, we wrote that as multiplication, then we would end up with a total of 24. So our total is 24, we call this the product, and in this case our 2 factors are 6 and, for consistency, 4, like that. So you see how like in multiplication the 2 factors are kind of on equal footing, the 4 and the 6, right? They kind of work together to build a product, which is 24, 4 and 6. Whereas in division, the dividend and the divisor, just even though they share a division sign, they're kind of different, right? The dividend is the thing you're splitting up, and the divisor is an instruction on how big those pieces are going to be. So there's a little bit of, there's something funny about division, which is probably why a lot of people have a hard time with it. And it's one of those things, the more time you spend thinking about it and practicing and making sense of it, it comes together and in deeper and deeper ways. You'll start to notice, of course, that it's written in lots of different ways. So take, for example, 24 divided by 6. We can write 24 over 6 as if it was a fraction. You'll see sometimes this long division format, which is annoying and nobody uses it. And you might sometimes, like if you're typing this on a computer keyboard, you might just see this like a /. Okay, so there's different ways to write it. And as I kind of already talked about, it's all about taking a total and a known group size, and then sort of counting how many groups you can select. So that's division. Take a dividend and a divisor, see how many of the divisor fits into the dividend, and you have yourself a quotient. Okay, so in the next videos we'll do more stuff with division, and we'll use these words as we work through them.